of the rocket ship park. There's no one there, no code, no one there. We got a basketball play, kids going on. We got the rocket ship park, we got the tennis, and there's no code, no safety, no nothing. And I think we need to have code in those areas, as far as the park as well. People are riding their bicycles, they're running around like maniacs. The village center, we have a lot of visitors, and yet there's no codes there. A lot of things are happening in this world. We have to somehow protect our children. We shouldn't wait till a tragedy happens. We need it now. So perhaps we as a unit could put some pressure on the trustees and on the mayor to put codes in this area, especially when we do have functions, and even when we don't have functions, have them, because we taxpayers have a right to protect our children and demand that they do.
We can certainly ask as an association.
And the other thing is,
You asked, I'm sorry, thanks for that. Anything specific that concerns you, just overall safety?
yeah, when you have 50, 60, 70 children in a park, in Rocket Ship Park itself, and there are children from 1 to 14 years old, and people sitting on a bench there, having their sandwich, and they, it's not safe. Okay? And meantime, you got the basketball courts going there, they're cursing, they're yelling, they get into a fight because you shoved and this and that, and there's no code to be found. You go to the park, beautiful park, Harborfront Park, no code. And yet everybody's going crazy when you, and of course the village center, you have a lot of visitors.
Can I respond?
I'll say it this way.
I carry on my phone direct number to code. So
Well,
I could call them over. We had an incident near Centennial Park last summer. It was scary.
Which one is Centennial?
It's if you go east, around Village Center.
Okay.
And they would come. Sometimes they have to call the Suffolk County Police Department. Often they need to.
What happened?
Let's take that out, right now.
Well,
I think we could talk
the
about that,
problem
but
is
what I'm
this.
saying is Kevin, came and spoke to our group and
Kevin Cooper, the head of code.
yeah, and he is telling us we need to call code when we see something.
well, okay,
We're the
this is the
watchdog.
problem. It's too late.
We
It's
can
too
raise
late.
it, we can raise it with the village.
Yeah, we need to have code there, period. There's no reason why we shouldn't have someone in the park. There's no reason why in the village center this year. And there's no, especially this summer, they're gonna run a camp there. You're gonna have 100, 125 children in that building, and no one's there. So I'm gonna call code, it's too late.
Well, aren't the people that are running the summer camps supposed to
They're
be
there, but
responsible?
things happen, but you need some kind of deterrence where, there's someone who's dressed as an officer, whatever it may be. Let them know that there's someone there who will do what they have to do, okay?
We'll ask the village and see what they say. And again, part of the thing that we're doing, as a part of the quality of life, we're taking on chronic issues that people have raised with the village and they have not responded. So let's raise it with the village, see what they respond. I personally found the village to be responsive when we bring up issues to them.
I'm just gonna say, I think most parents of young children are there at Rocket Ship Park the whole time their kids are there. At least that was when my children who are in their 30s now.
Well,
And you just never ever would let your kids out loose running in a place where there's cars going by in the parking lot all the time anyway.
I'm not talking about cars, what I'm talking about,
Right.
okay. I'm talking about, take a look at the schools, okay? You have teachers there, you have responsibility, and things do happen.
Got it. All right, there's some.
Hi, I'm gonna piggyback on this for 1 second and then I have a comment about something else. Interestingly, I was walking by the park the other day, gorgeous day, there was like 1 million kids, parents, and it was wonderful actually, because we've had one heck of a winter. And I was thinking, and unfortunately, yes, a lot of parents watch their kids and hope they do. There's a lot of parents spacing out, looking at their phones, and there's a lot of kids and they're running around, so I understand where he's coming from. I used to put my kids in neon, believe it or not, like highlight them, and I go 1, 2, 1, 2, you know, no matter where we was, so I could see them because I would get, you know, but not everybody is always paying attention. What I am thinking is, regardless of putting code and everything, I was thinking personally, maybe a camera there, and I'm not really big on that, I hate big brother stuff, I hate big government stuff, so that's, you know, I'm not really big on cameras. I think maybe a camera there would be good, that God forbid a kid wanders off, or somebody takes a kid and wanders off, that at least we have to say, we see this and we see who did it. Just an idea. So that was just something that came to my mind when I was seeing that. And, you know, just to have one camera, even just to kind of, you know, God forbid something happens, that there's some kind of footage of it. So that's that. My other issue, which it's a big deal to me, is I don't want to have poop maps like they do in San Francisco, but I am getting, I walk the village constantly. That's like my go-to for everything. I love walking around this village. It's a slice of heaven here with black. But the problem is, lately, a lot of people are letting their dogs poop in the middle of the sidewalks. Now, again, that's something people should know better what to do, but it's like really getting gross, and unfortunately, and again, this is kind of out of my wheelhouse of what I like to do, but I think these people should get fines if they do, because I think it maybe would be an incentive to not let your dog poo in the middle of the sidewalk and just leave it there. Like short of that, I don't know what the answer would be, because, you know, it's just common decency and respect. But it's really gotten bad, like literally it's in the middle of the sidewalk, and it's also gross for a tourist town, it's like embarrassing, you know, that we poo all over the sidewalk. So I just don't know how to incentivize people to be responsible with their pets. I mean, most people are, I know that, you know, but the few that aren't, they're starting to become more common than not. So I don't know how to approach that. I don't know if they need to be fined if they get caught. I'm not sure what, you know, I don't know what the answer is. How
That
do
would
you-
be a code question, because
Yeah.
if there's no provision in the code, we need to pass it, because
Yeah,
otherwise.
I really don't know what the answer is,
I
but
believe
it's
there
kind
is
of
none.
disgusting.
There is,
I believe in the code does say you can't do that.
Yeah, like, because it's
It
just,
would be impossible to have police watching them all the time.
yeah, they'd have to see it, yeah, I just don't know what the answer is. It wasn't
And
about
about wearing a license plate.
It just wasn't a big issue, and all of a sudden, the last, like,
just
year,
burn your dog.
it's gross, it's gross, so.
because I know that the village has a lot of the poop bags and
Yeah,
everything.
everything,
we need
They're
more.
just being gross.
If
and
you,
everything.
if you see a frequency area, maybe we could get a dispenser
Yeah, I
for the
guess
bags.
so. I mean, it's like a really weird thing to have to think about when you're trying to walk around. It's that bad now. And I've seen on Facebook, like a lot of other people commenting, they're seeing the same thing. So I'm like, it must be as bad as I think, or not everybody would be noticing the same issue, so.
All right, Steve?
I would like to see if we could, as a group, specifically, work towards a historic preservation of our village. As things go along, within the short period of time that I've been here, 20 years, we've lost many old homes and that have been torn down and high-density homes put in its place. And it would be nice if we can work to preserve what's left, and that if any new residents are to be built, that we focus on homes that are for families or for young people starting out, not just the ultra rich who can move in. We, of course we want them too, but we want people to be able to come here and actually live a life.
I think that's one of the things that's
Yeah,
up your.
I think one of the things that's going to help is that a lot of times, like I was saying, we're not getting to see the residents something that's being built or zoning being changed until it comes up for open forum. And we need to know that in advance as a community together. So that's why I plan on attending every one of those 2 meetings I possibly can. And I'll be bringing back, when it first gets, a lot of times the developer comes in with just a trial thing. You know, this is what we have on our mind. That's the time we need to hear about it. For instance, like the 4th floor building of a hotel there. That kind of has died now, but it's starting to come back. We have to watch that closely because nobody wants, I believe nobody I've spoken to wants 4th floor down there and ruin the whole look of the village going up that high. But we need to be right on the front of that and come out as a group and say, the civic has to go back and say, the members say no 4th floor. And that's what I hope to contribute to this organization.
The only other thing I would add is that we keep an eye on what's going on the west side of town. They did do a mass clearing of trees, and, who knows what they were planning to build there.
They
It
did
came to
file a
us-
permit,
us
and the planning department gave them the permit for those things, and that's another thing why being a part of those meetings would be so important, because if no one questions it,
Where is it?
Boulder Court. I think it's Boulder Court. Yes, it is Boulder Court. It's by the intersection of Brook and 25A, like towards
Going up toward the school?
No,
No,
it's
other
it's next to, is it Overbay? It's next to Overbay, like
Oh, back behind it.
down behind there,
What are they doing?
I don't remember, but they did ask for permits, and the permits were given.
Is it gonna be another IDA monstrosity?
I am not sure, I don't remember what, but I do know that they we requested that, and the clearing happened within the permit. They didn't just go and do it. But again, we learned about it only after they started clearing. We didn't have a chance to ask why or weigh in or provide information, so that's why the fact that Rob is willing to sit hours through those meetings. Virginia?
I wanna echo what Stephen was talking about, because, we don't have a steep slope ordinance, but we're seeing that the development that you mentioned, and even the one on, East Broadway where they put the wall up, they cut down some very large trees, and those trees hold steep slopes, and with the removal of those huge trees, you know, they haven't done anything to stabilize the slope, but it's a very steep slope, it's like almost unstable without those trees there now, and, I do know that the mayor is working on a steep slope ordinance. I haven't heard anything about the progress on that, but it would be helpful when we hear what the planning board is getting in terms of applications, if they had an ordinance on the books that puts limits on what can be done. And it's really important, because this is not called the 7 Hills of Port for nothing, right? I mean, it's very hilly, so, and that's all we have left. Is it 6?
No, it's 7.
Oh, it's 7, okay.
We did hear that they're working on the steep slope one. They were forming a separate code for that.
Yes.
And they've decided now to combine it in with a few other things related to that. So it's in its phase now where, from what I understand, but don't quote me, I think it's coming up in the next month or two to start the review process with the board.
Good.
Okay, but that's the reason for the delay, that we were putting it into a combined code.
Thanks for that, I didn't know that.
Can I respond to that? I am starting to see that we're at a breaking point with, there could be just a few trees taking down and it could cause a flood in your neighbor's basement. We are, it's like at the brink, so like the forest at the top of one of the 7 hills is the Scraggy Hill Forest. If that came down, you would see repercussions, just like what Dark Hollow. What do you see during a bad storm? Dark Hollow didn't clear trees, but there's the drainage problem, there's erosion, you know, this is, you know, we're facing this. If there are, you know, the tree code is being improved in the tree committee, and going to the trustees. This is serious, you know, this is so serious. To sell any property that could be made into a preservation and instead being developed, we are all in danger. Every business downtown, the homes, the village, I really am seeing like the writing on the wall. We're at it like that. There was someone right in my neighborhood, someone cleared their property, which was against code, but people don't care, they'll just pay the penalty. You know, you could, unless the penalty is high enough, they're gonna break the code and pay the penalty, because they want a cleared property, it's their property. That neighbor can't even afford the legal fees to sue and all the money that they're spending because they're getting flooded now, right next door. I mean, this is what's happening.
And that's part of the reason why, like, what I was outlining as a vision to start working on the code, because within our code, we do have, our code does not allow wall-to-wall lawns. It mandates a certain percentages which must be natural vegetation, which is not lawn, which is not ornamentals, which is native plants that are very deep-rooted, that are shrubs, that hold the soil, that absorb the water, that you leave the leaves, because leaves also function as a really important sponge to absorb the water. So there are so many different layers to part of the reason why I want to focus on that, because it has question about the flooding, question about the biodiversity, quality of our lives, cleaning of the air, so it's not just groundwater, absolutely. Hold on, I saw,
Yeah, I just wanted to say about the wall that was built coming down the hill, that those trees were not taken down just willy-nilly. They kinda had to come down because they were gonna fall down. The roots were starting to protrude out of the dirt. And that was done in conjunction with the homeowners who live up there also. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't just let's take these trees down because we can, because we're building a wall and we don't like them anymore. The village has a very vested interest in preserving trees, and they didn't have a choice with those, they had to come down.
I saw there were a number of hands, one, I didn't get your name. Olivia, please.
Hi, I'm Olivia, and I know we've been talking about new development, but something I did wanna point out that I think the Civic should focus on more is pushing for existing infrastructure issues to get resolved. More specifically, the Sheep Pasture Bridge and Dark Hollow Road Bridge. Those two bridges are years beyond where they should have been repaired. Sheep pasture is at least over 117 years old. It got downgraded from 5 tons to 3 tons. For perspective, a UPS or FedEx truck is going to be heavier than that. A landscaping truck would be heavier than 3 tons. I know Brookhaven did secure funding to fix the bridge, but I think as a community, we need to push for these projects to move ahead to actually repair these bridges. For instance, I know that community pressure on the state in particular pushed a project on Middle Country Road to start from 2028 to 2027. So if we push on these issues, we can get these projects done at a sooner date, but it's a matter of safety. I don't want to come home one day and see that the bridge went out on like a landscaping truck or someone trying to go home. And we've gotten a lot of snow this year, and we don't know how that's impacted specifically sheep pasture.
We're always looking for volunteers. Bruce.
So, just winding back a little bit in history, we had one of these flooding issues on Scraggy Hill Road. It involved village property and the school district property. There was a tree ordinance that I helped get passed as a CAC member, and essentially the builder just clear cut it. I mean, it looked like some Indonesian rainforest clearing, cut everything down, and the result was that there was enormous erosion. There was a gully. I was a lot younger then, and I couldn't jump across it. And a pond on the school property. And this is maybe a role for the civic, is to keep the village honest. You know, if they're just cutting stuff down, and the penalties are worth breaking the ordinance, maybe they should be higher. But this stuff is been allowed to happen, and just parenthetically, the bluff issue was about 7 years old, and I was working with the Conservation Advisory Committee for all those years. The Conservation Advisory Committee was never involved, and they're keeping the committee out of things, so maybe you could lobby to have them more involved and
And
the
I
way they
think
used
we
to be.
have Stella Cohen, who is the co-chair of the Tree and Conservation Advisory Committee, so that's a great conversation.
This way.
Please.
So, yeah, as a tree committee, and Polly was an ex-member, past member too. As a tree committee, we are working very hard to reform the code. There's a couple of things in the code that are basically loopholes. First one is something called the minor tree removal, which means anybody can take down up to 2 trees every single day for a year if they feel like it, and they wouldn't be breaking a code. Because there's no time limit. You can take down 2 trees today, take down 2 trees tomorrow. And some homeowners have used that to basically clear cut their properties. So as a committee, we are focusing on getting rid of that altogether. We are focusing on perhaps making every homeowner, if you want to take down a tree of any kind, to make an application to the planning committee, or planning board rather. That might be onerous on some owners, but on the other hand, it's about the only way we can do to protect our tree canopy in the village. As for the penalties, currently I believe it's up to $2,000 in the code. We would like to make it much higher, and we will be lobbying the Board of Trustees to do that. One more thing, we are having Arbor Day on the 22nd of this month. Please come and join us for that at 5 o'clock down in Harbourfront Park. We will be planting a white oak, which will replace the oak that was used to build the whaleboat. It'll be like not quite, mature, but big enough. And then also on the 9th of May, at the Spring Street Triangle, if you're familiar with that, we are having a community pollinator garden planting. Please come and join us. We are going to create a pollinator garden to encourage native insects and plants and all the rest, and birds. So please join me. You are all very welcome to come to any of our tree committee meetings and bring us your ideas rather. We hold our meetings on the first Wednesday of every month. We just had our April. Please come join us in May, or come talk to us on Arbor Day or the community planting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Molly? There's a big problem with this wish list and desires because it doesn't incorporate the schools. The schools can do whatever the hell they damn well please. Now, I'm sure most of you haven't been on that walk to nowhere that sprouted next to the junior high school. There's a stairway now. There's 70 stairs, and they are difficult to navigate, I would think, for a lot of older people or younger kids. They're dangerous. They're too steep. And then when you get up to the top, you will see there's a passageway that has had to have been built. By the way, all this stuff cost $4 million, and it was done after the huge rainfall in 2024. Where the 18th and the 19th of August, it all flooded. Why is that? Because when they were building up in that area, they were taking down the trees that had already been planted on that hillside. They're gone, there's none there anymore. That was supposed to stop erosion. Why they did this, I have no idea. I don't think they changed the football field or any of the fields that are up there at all. Clueless. To put in that giant staircase. Why? Nobody knows. So it's more money in Mr. Grillo's pockets, and some contractors evidently did such a poor job on the stairs that they were unfit to walk on until someone else came and had to fix this whole project. But it goes all the way, the walkway at the top goes all the way over to the bleachers on that field up there. Instead of just realizing, there's a walkway through the separation between the junior high and the senior high, through the building. And that's where all the kids go, and that's where the smart adults go, because that's how you get up to the top in a reasonable, sane way. So you're not controlling the schools, and in that period of time, in August of 2024, it flooded out the basement of that junior high building to the tune of an $800,000 plus repair bill for all the damage that had been done. And I bet most of you don't know this.
I didn't.
But try to speak to the school board about this these inane, crazy expenses that are just architectural follies built for no one. No one passed on, vetted on that at all from the community. They thumb their noses at the public. So go and take a look at this weird ass structure that they built.
Roger, anyone else? Roger.
Yeah, I think that, when I think about the character of the village, it's really been changing. You know, it's changing. The whole character of the village, slowly but slowly, is becoming something that we don't have a choice to even, unless we get very involved, okay? You talked about the wall. Everybody said about the wall going down there. They put a concrete wall there. That's not character with the village. They should at least face it as kind of brick or something to keep with the character of the village, not a concrete wall. It's very dangerous, plus where it is, it's right on a road. They should put some kind of maybe illumination or something to tell you to be careful, because it is very dangerous coming down there. So since I heard that, I started thinking about it, and yeah, I think maybe that's something the village should do, maybe face it, make it look like something in character of the village, not just a wall of a concrete wall. Okay, my other thing I want to talk about is that we have a master plan in this village here, and we don't follow it, and it's our fault, really, okay? It's really our fault because we don't demand the trustees and the mayor to follow it, okay? So you talk about conservation. If we don't follow the master plan where we do have areas for trees, recreational, zoning. What happened with the church property, the zoning has lit up a fire for everybody else to rezone. They can, why can't we? It's a problem.
Talking about Mary Haven?
Okay? So we need to get more involved and demand the trustees follow the 25-year plan for the village.
You
It's
talking
very
about
important.
church property, can you,
Yes. What
talking
about
about
it?
Mary Haven?
What church?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
Mary Haven.
Mary Haven property there, which everybody 2 or 3 years ago came, whoa, we don't want it. And guess what? They, the trustees, the mayors, passed it right through.
The Civic Association,
That's one of the things that we actively opposed to.
we actively.
Yes, we did, but somehow
Well, they came here.
we
and
lost
they
sight of
presented-
it.
They
Well, they
presented
made
Yeah,
their-
well, they presented, just remember one thing, I've always said it, and I'm very familiar with builders.
Yeah, me too.
They are going to punish you. They're going to punish you. They're going to tell you everything. Oh, we're going to keep the trees, we'll keep that. And then when they knock them all down, oh, well, we're going to replant. That's the big name. We're going to replant with 1.5 inch caliber tree. Okay? Oak, you like oak? We're going to give you oak, 1.5 inch caliber tree. You can buy it for $200. And in 25 years, you may get a bird there. If you're lucky. Okay, so you know, the point is, we have to get involved. We have to demand that we are the residents. They're just temporarily empowered today, tomorrow they're voted out. So we have to live here, we have to.
But sir, come to the committees,
put your thoughts to each of those committees, whether it's tree or conservation or public safety, and then those committees have to put together a recommendation. It goes to the trustee liaison, and then it becomes a resolution to be voted on. Like, there is a procedure, which is, you know, what you're offering is great, community support, community involvement, but if we don't hear from residents, it doesn't happen. You know, so come and talk to those relevant committees and give us, you know, your opinions. It's important. Otherwise, there's a team of 6 people trying to figure out the right thing for a village of 8,000. All right. Any other questions, comments? Let's party. There's the rest of the pizza. Our next meeting is May
Second Monday.
second Monday of the month. That would be May 11th here at this library. Thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing you.